Hello and welcome back to the Boonshock Museum of Discovery. My name is Julia and we are going to be doing a fun chemical reaction that you can do here at home. We also do a version here in our science theater as a demonstration, which I will show you a little bit after we do our own here at home. So we're talking about chemical reactions or chemical changes today, and I have all the materials out that you will need to do your own version of elephant's toothpaste. So first thing you will need is a clean and dry 16 to 20 ounce pop bottle or water bottle. We have a plastic funnel that most of you will have either within your kitchen or possibly in your garage. A packet of dry yeast, or if you have the kind in a jar, that works too. Sugar, you can have it in the form of sugar cubes or just the sugar right out of the sugar bowl. Have a tablespoon measure, a half cup measure, hydrogen peroxide, 3%. This is the kind you find in the brown bottle in your first aid kits. Food coloring, which is optional. If you don't have it, it will still work. Warm water, warm tap water. And then this is dish soap. So it can be any kind of dish soap that you would use at home. So the first thing you're going to want to do, oh, and of course, I forgot, I should never forget this, our safety measures. So you want to have some kind of glasses. So whether that's your eyeglasses that you wear regularly, sunglasses, if you happen to have some really cool pair of goggles at home, please feel free to use those, including swimming goggles. So I'm going to put mine down right now because we're going to start using our different materials here. So first thing you're going to want to do is get your bottle. And oh, I did forget, you want to have some sort of tray or cookie sheet to have underneath this because it will get a little messy. So you're going to add 3 tablespoons to start of warm water to the bottom of this bowl, or to the bottom of your pop bottle, and you'll probably want to use a funnel to help get that stuff in there. So I'm going to add my 3 tablespoons of warm water to the bottom. 2 and 3. This can just be warm water right out of the tap. You don't want it to be too hot because otherwise you will fry your little yeasty beasties. So once you get that warm water in there, I recommend adding about a teaspoon of sugar. That is going to be a sugar cube or 2. Just depends on the size of your sugar cubes, or just a teaspoon measure of sugar. Then you're going to add your yeast, and you're going to wait around 15 to 20 minutes.
20 minutes later.
All right, it's been about 20 minutes, and this is what it should look like when your yeast has activated or proofed. So our little yeast in here, they are eating that sugar, and what they're doing is they are releasing gas. So they do the same thing that we do whenever we eat a lot of stuff. We release gas too in the forms of, well, burping and farting. They're doing the same thing. So those little bubbles that you see when bread rises, that's just a bunch of trapped yeast farts. It's kind of gross to think about, but also tasty, because this actually smells really, really good. So we're going to add some of the materials we need to make this really become our elephant's toothpaste. So the first thing I have here, we have some dish soap. It's going to be any brand of dish soap that you have at home. I don't think that dishwasher solution would, but if you're in a pinch, you can try to use that one as well. And I'm going to make sure I have my funnel again here. Almost forgot that. So we can make sure everything gets in there the way it should. So I pour a little bit in. Just make sure it gets all the way down in there. Now this will get a little bit messy, but that's okay. We're just using soap. So once I get all that soap in there, I might give it just a gentle swirl to kind of mix it around a little bit. All right, you can kind of see it down there in the bottom. And then this part is completely optional if you don't have any food coloring at home. We have liquid food coloring. I don't think it will work with gel food coloring, but liquid food coloring, if you've already gone out to buy, say, like an Easter food coloring packet, this would be within there too. So I'll add a couple drops. 1, 2, 3. There we go. It'll help give it some color, but it will work without the food coloring, trust me. So kind of swirl that around in there too. Kind of try to get it to spread throughout. All right. So I'm going to plop this right here in the middle of my tray. I'm going to bring back my funnel. Move some stuff out of the way. And now I'm going to add my half cup of hydrogen peroxide. This is the 3% hydrogen peroxide that you would have in your first aid kits. So very, very carefully, I want to make sure we do this. All right. And now we watch and wait. Oh, look at the giant mess I made here. That's why we want to have that tray underneath. So what happened in this reaction? That hydrogen peroxide has lots of oxygen in it. That's what the oxide stands for. So when that yeast gets a hold of that oxygen and the hydrogen peroxide, it likes to have, well, like a little party. So what's happening in there is it's reacting. It's creating water, and it's also creating oxygen. It's breaking apart the hydrogen peroxide and creating those two things. So the oxygen gets released and gets trapped in those soap, or in the soap there to create those bubbles, and creates a little bit of a warming reaction. If I touch it, it's a little bit warm, not hot. And as that reaction happens, those bubbles get trapped, they go up and out and spill all over my tray. Now, it's a very similar reaction to the one that we do in our lab here. Now, I will say with any of their experiments that we're doing over our DIY science stuff here, this is not something we should eat. Even though we are using food stuff, so things like sugar and yeast, we don't want to eat this stuff. All right, so like I mentioned earlier, we do this in our science theater here, but we use a little bit different materials. So in here I have a potassium iodide mixture. It is currently mixed with some of our soap bubble solution. And I'm going to add just a little bit of our food coloring here to it, just so we can see. It makes it prettier. I'll swirl that around. So this is going to be a much stronger, much faster reaction, and might get a little bit more of some distance on this foam as it comes out here. This right here, this is also hydrogen peroxide, but this is 30%. So if I got this on my hands, it would not feel too good. So the stuff we use at home, 3%, it's meant to go on our hands so we can clean out cuts and stuff like that. So this right here, this would really sting quite a bit. So I'm going to add this to our potassium iodide and soap mixture, and we're going to see what happens. Ready? 3, 2, and 1. Woohoo! All right, so we can see this one is a lot faster and a lot more strong. So I now have an even bigger mess to clean up. This is a very messy one for me today. So it's got, now if you can see, you might be able to see it with some of this, you can see some steam coming off this. This is actually a very warm reaction. It's called exothermic, when our chemical reactions release a bunch of heat that we can feel. That's actually one of the ways we can tell there is an actual chemical reaction going on. Another thing we saw, I put in some of this blue food coloring. It actually changed to a green color. When we have a color change, that's another way we can tell we have a chemical reaction or a chemical change going on. Now the big thing with a chemical change is we can't get this back to the way it was before. So we can't get this back to just the soap, just the potassium iodide, and just the hydrogen peroxide. It's changed into something brand new, and that brand new thing is a giant mess for me to clean up. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed watching us today. If you do like what you see, please click the link and subscribe to us on our channel. Have a great rest of your day.